welcome back to week 12 of the Hearthstone Global Games. Neil, I don't think you were able to watch much of that last series.
I saw bits, I did manage to see bits of it.
It was incredible. I highly recommend later on you go back to the hotel and watch that one back.
Yeah, it did look good.
Crazy priests doing things, mages coming back with giant anacondas that have come from Atieshes and all sorts of madness, but a very convincing win for Team Singapore.
Yeah, Norway in a bit of trouble, yeah?
Yeah, there was some great gameplay there as well, just on both sides. There was a fantastic game, Hunter Race with his Quest Rogue coming back against a Pirate Warrior, bouncing Glacial Shard a lot, doing that thing. Very interesting to watch. But next up, it's going to be Belgium versus Israel. Let's take a look at Group B, see what the standings is at the moment. Oh,
wow,
dear.
They're doing well. They're both in first and second.
All right, we'll just get that fixed for just a moment. Belgium versus Israel. Belgium 0-1. Israel also 0-1 in their group.
So it goes without saying, another important match. A lot of these teams do. It wasn't scheduled this way on purpose, but a lot of these teams playing teams on the same score as themselves.
It's funny how that's worked. We're going to have, like, as you said in the previous series, we're going to have losers matches and winners matches, but that's how it's going to happen. And then later on, there's going to be the other match that slots in. Let's take a look at the players that are going to be representing these teams. You're probably quite used to them by now. But for Belgium, Maverick, Olek, Chinois, and Arne versus Israel, Glacier, Hattel, Murray, and Jonathan.
Yeah, Israel, one of the surprise teams of this tournament, and they keep surprising Glacier having yet another good run at DreamHack to go with all the other good runs we keep talking about. I think we've got to stop talking about them in terms of being surprises and more in terms of the casters messing up, I think, in future casts.
Sure, no, that's totally fair. As we just take a look, it looks like Venice, doesn't it, Belgium?
Does it?
The shot.
I've never been to either. Apart from I went to Belgium when I was very young.
Just streets of rivers and things.
And Israel looks glamorous as ever. And why does everyone look so nice, Dan?
You like a good beach, don't you, Neil?
I do like a good beach.
Neil the Murloc also likes a good beach.
Wow. Nice.
Murlocs do like beaches, right?
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
So do pirates. Yeah.
Do they like beaches? Like, do their ships work near beaches, or do they just like crash or ground,
maybe they just
or
like
whatever
the
they
water.
do?
Maybe I'm just mixing water and beaches here.
I think you are.
Anyways, we're going to have a listen to see what Chinois had to say about the Hearthstone Global Games.
Hey guys, I'm Chinois and I'm playing for Belgium. Maybe the smallest country of them all, but we will try to make it the biggest one. So let's try to win Global Games. The most challenging part at the start was to find good pairings and communication. First part as communication, because you have French and Dutch. Arnie and me are speaking Dutch, and Maverick and Oliash are speaking French. When we play, we can't talk the same language. We need to talk a third language that we all know, like English. And at pairings, we started really bad with pairings, and everyone said it, and it's just true. That's how we got 3-0'd against Canada. It's just all the teams are very good now. And it's really hard to find a surprising strategy that can work, actually, because it's a best of one with 2 decks, and then you have to queue the right one. My favorite part of the Global Games is that, like, competing at a big tournament with, like, very likable players like Maverick, Oliage, and Arne are also really good friends, and we are in the same team. Maverick is a real captain. Like, he listens to everyone and takes the best decision afterwards. It's really nice to have a captain like that. Yeah, Arne I know already very long, and he keeps calm in the group. If we have a really good hand, or we are all overhyped, he will say like, calm guys, let's think about it for next 2 turns, so that we don't play too fast, or that we are not going to misplay. He really takes care of the time. Well, I'm just really competitive. I play just a lot, and I hope I try to play optimal. And Oliash just plays a lot, and he knows like every deck. You can't give him a deck list that he doesn't know. And then he says like, yeah, I played them all, because he streams like 6 to 8 hours a day. We have really good players, and they all search for the optimal lineup, the optimal place. And if you're with 4, you will definitely find the best place, and that's what makes Global Games really cool.
So my key takeaway from that interview is that I'd like to borrow Oliek's brain for a little bit. He knows every single deck list, knows every single deck. You can't give him a list and have him not know it. I'd like to borrow some of that knowledge.
I wouldn't mind borrowing some of his 70,000 followers either, to be honest, on YouTube subscribers. So yeah,
You just need to kidnap Olek and take his...
Seems to
What's going on? All right, back to Hearthstone. All right.
Quite a lot, but no, actually, I find Chinoy's to be one of the most refreshing characters in the game. He's always got something positive to say about the game, while simultaneously competing at the highest levels. He went 15-0. I keep saying every week at DreamHack France last year, but yeah, 15-0. 15. More games than Gaskin's ever won in his life.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
We're going to open up with Chinoy's versus...
He's just appeared.
Murray.
He's going to get us, Neil.
I might not make it through this cast, guys. Chinoy's with the Rogue and the Mage together. Murray with the Rogue and the Warrior.
Yep, Hearthstone Global Games format. Players distributed the 9 classes between themselves, decided in advance which pairings each player is going to get, which class pairings, what order they're going to play in. Chinoy's and Murray now shown each other's classes. They're going to now decide which one of those 2 they want to bring. Rogue versus Mage, as Neil said, or Rogue versus Warrior. Which classes are they going to bring? What do you think, Neil?
I'm not sure. Rogue and Mage is an interesting pairing, though, because it's kind of weak against Hunter. And I really don't want to give Hunter a free win in this format. So if you do run into the Hunter with your Rogue and Mage, that feels a bit awkward to me.
Yeah. Yeah, that seems like a fair argument. Luckily...
yeah, they did not. They ran into something completely different.
Luckily, they dodged it.
So I don't get to talk about that.
Well, let's take a look. No need to predict any further. Both players going to throw away the Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue pretty bad against both the Mage and, well, the Warrior's iffy because it was Pirates.
Bad against
so
Pirate
much trouble.
Warrior, and as you said, bad against...
It shouldn't be Pirates, you wouldn't think, but then you've got your Rogue and your Warrior both getting beat by Shaman, which you just don't want to be in that spot. So I'd imagine it's Taunt, but not a risk you want to take.
Yeah, difficult to predict with this one. I was going to try and see because so the player that wasn't taking Mage was going to not pick the Rogue because they had to pick the deck that doesn't lose to the Mage, and then maybe they were thinking, okay, but our other deck does beat Mage. But I'm thinking neither of the Warrior decks are really that favoured against Mage, are they? Quest is
not that. I mean,
okay.
yeah, Pirates is okay too, in my opinion. Depends how teched it is, I guess.
But not like a hard counter.
Sure. But I don't think it would be Pirates. It would make sense if it's Taunt.
Right.
But then you're not favoured against the Rogue. So it makes sense that both these picks... I thought maybe the Rogue would come into play for Belgium there, just as a, you know what, I think it's Taunt Warrior, I think you have to play it.
Yeah.
But yeah, going with a Mage versus the Warrior, and I could be completely wrong, it just makes sense to me not to be overly weak to Shaman in that top pick.
Sure. I spoke to Gleiser a little bit this morning, just before we came here and started playing the games. I said, you know, did you feel prepared? How are you doing? And he said, yeah, we feel good. He said that ever since DreamHack, he's been really try-harding, spending a good few hours each day, building the lineup, preparing, testing everything, etc., etc. I get the feeling from him that different players kind of take charge in the preparation, depending on what the others have been up to. So like DreamHack week, Gleiser was out. He was busy doing that, so handed the reins to someone else. Now DreamHack's over. He's back in the kind of saddle again and been doing a lot of the work to setting everything up.
And it's really hard to have the whole team make the base. You've got to say where you want to start before you start building these lineups, because otherwise you end up being a complete mess. And it is actually Pirates. Huh. So Shaman would have been pretty powerful in the top pick there, running into Pirates and into Rogue. But maybe the Rogue was Miracle. Maybe that was an old switcheroo, because Miracle's not bad against the Shaman.
Something one of the players said as well is that a lot of the players often do things, put their classes in the same order. So Shaman is regularly not in the first deck in the lineup. So maybe that was the thing that Israel considered. It's unlikely that we're going to be paired against Shaman, so let's just go with the lineup that's weak against it.
Yeah, very much so. Again, it could have been Miracle, but I'd have expected it to be the other way. That's interesting. Tempted to find out later what's happening there, but I don't think they'll tell us at this stage, though. However, Chinoy's with the perfect Mana Worm start.
Both players have pretty good starts here, actually. Mana Worm turn 1 into Archaeologist turn 2 feels strong, but Coin Fiery Warx to deal with both of those minions in advance also feels strong. The only problem with that is that it kind of blocks off Yunazov's first mate.
You're always a bit of a tricky start when you get that going on, but you're still going to play it next turn anyway, so I think you just have to sort of suck it up and carry on. You still get your deck hand next turn.
That seems good, actually. Fiery Warx down the Worm. Next turn we can see Archaeologist comes down, probably. Warx hits that, and then Yunazov's first mate doesn't actually lose anything there. So
yeah, you may also be able to get something out of the Frothing Berserker that way. Of course, you do use up your coin. Using up the coin. An underrated thing, you can only use it once to switch around who's going first in the game. Yeah. The other guy goes first every other turn in the game, so you've got to use it very sparingly, but
also,
it does look good here.
There's a high chance that if the Warx does come down here, Chinoy just won't play the Archaeologist on turn 2. And then what? Murray has to hit the Warx into the face? That doesn't seem ideal.
But then you just sort of chill and play his deckhand, and he's missed out on 2 mana, and you missed out on 1 mana, so you're still okay.
All right, gonna go for it.
They'll have spent a lot of that turn planning out the next few turns. Still not even that overly keen. I don't think they're happy with their decision. But they've got quite a few outs to just draw another 1-drop as well. Meanwhile, Belgium now have that decision. Because it fetches a 3-drop secret, I think you just go ahead and play it.
Yeah.
Also sucks up 3 damage that you don't have to take anymore. That works.
Okay, well, upgrade does solve the N'Zoth's first mate problem, sort of. It's still got a problem because you won't be able to play N'Zoth's first mate for a while, unless he does this, trades in the War Axe, then plays N'Zoth's first mate and upgrades that weapon.
That is an option. I mean, you can play the upgrade now and then South Sea deckhand and just kill this with the minions or the face, depending how you feel about the mate.
I prefer that, and then you curve into Frothing Berserker and you just don't worry about the N'Zoth's first mate for a while.
Yeah, he's going to go this way, though. This is also fine. Use of the mana, absolutely fine. Going to put a lot of minions on the board. If they don't get Volcanic Potion, they're going to be able to buff that Frothing Berserker to the max. Well, there's no max, but to enough that it will be painful.
Yeah. Let's see what Chinoise picks up to deal with this turn. A second Arcanologist, okay.
Got to be tempted to go with the Acolyte of Pain here. It challenges the board pretty well and doing its thing. If you play the Arcanologist, you're wasting mana. You don't really want to waste mana against a control deck.
I think all 3 of these guys.
Against a control deck? Isn't that good?
Like Ice Block, obviously, it's safe for a turn later. Maybe you're in less of a hurry to play that now. Arcanologist puts a better minion on the board, draws you another secret. But Acolyte, you're right, it does seem so ideal here because everything just sort of bounces off of it and doesn't kill it. It's going to get at least 2 draws.
So here's the punish, though. Now the Frothing Berserker into trade, and suddenly you've got a 6/4 Berserker, and there's no Fireball or Frostbolt in the opposing hand.
Thing is, Frothing Berserker would have punished any one of those plays except the Ice Block.
Sure.
So it's difficult to play around the card that you just have no way of playing around.
Now the question is, you do this part now, do you want to preserve your minions or do you want to just use your face? It makes the Berserker 1 smaller, but it makes the pings so much worse next turn, and all in all looks just so much better for you.
Yeah, I mean, Chinoise can only ping 1 of these minions, right?
Right,
so.
And they know there's no Volcanic Potion almost certainly because last turn was so awkward, which means that they can only ping 1 of these, and they want to ping them all. Want to ping all 3 of these things.
Ah, there's a Frostbolt. Okay, that makes this turn significantly easier. He can Frostbolt ping the Frothing Berserker or Frostbolt and develop the Arcanologist. I think that works out very well. It's using as much tempo as you possibly can this turn. Graze a minion, you put a minion on the board. I think that's the way to go.
Yeah, I think so. You've got the Volcanic Potion to tidy up next turn anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this looks really good. And suddenly the Pirates are just in trouble. Shut down for now. The Meteor will be able to take care of stuff later on. You're on a high enough health total that this Arcanite Reaper doing 18 damage probably won't be enough. Defensive Alexstrasza are always good in this position as well. Means that you can develop bits and pieces, slowly build up a board, force the Pirates so they can't trade. They have to go face because they're running out of resources. And then you Alex your own face. There's your beating stick to win the game with, and you're on 15 health.
This sort of matchup against the Pirate Warrior, against the Token Druid, the Token Shaman, defensive Alexstrasza's can just win that matchup. Something that is worth considering, though, is that it's possible to get locked into that point of view and only look at the Alexstrasza as a defensive card.
Right.
And then miss lethal because an offensive Alexstrasza would have won the game.
Definitely a thing that can happen. Murray in a really tough spot now. He knows, well, he can see there's a ping available at very worst. But yeah, he knows there's other options. Volcanic Potion wasn't around a couple of turns ago, but could be now. He is trying to keep the way clear, keep these things alive. Seems to be of the belief that there isn't a potion. There wasn't earlier, you've got to go with that really. You don't beat much else.
Well, Potion gonna do its job now, it looks like. Is there any way that Chinoise can get away with not playing it? And is there any need to not play it? Ice Block Ping seems okay. Maybe
does seem okay.
But then you can glyph if you play the Potion anyway.
I mean, you have Meteor in hand, so you can withstand one more big minion. Meteor's an interesting card in this deck, by the way. I was looking at the mulligans for mage-related decks with Meteors in them, and it's always one of your best cards to have in your opening hand, which is absolutely bizarre. It's slightly less good in decks that have Polymorph, it's slightly less good in decks that have Flame Strike, but actually it's just one of the top 3 or 4 cards in your opening hand, even though it's 6 mana and does nothing. It turns out that the ability to deal with one gigantic minion is all a mage needs to get it into those killers turns 7 and 8. Also, these decks have nothing to do on turns 5 or 6, and Meteor fills that gap as well.
And also, in some positions, just dealing with 3 smaller minions is okay.
Sure.
Some of the more aggressive decks.
Just turns out that there's not enough AoE in the deck, so the Meteor in your opening hand is actually a big part of this deck, much bigger than you might think.
It's crazy. That seems to be one of the way people have solved Mage recently. It's adding all these volcanic potions and adding, having as many Meteors as possible. You're right. The lack of AoE does seem to be the problem. But now Israel pushing 5 damage to the face here. Deckhand upgrade and Blood Cell Cultist in hand. Belgium are going to run low on time.
They are, but they should be able to set up blocks into Alex Straza. They've got 2 blocks, which will get them there. As long as they've got the board when they play the Alex, they should be all right.
And that's the vital part. Chinoise needs to keep these pirates off of the board. Oh, 3rd ice block. That won't matter.
Yeah, I mean, that guarantees the Alex Straza at very least. But, yeah, you can start going for that offensive Alex Straza that you were talking about when you have these many blocks.
Freezing the face also buys you a turn.
It does. That's probably a good spot. But they're just going to go for safety. You might be right. Frostbite might be just as good here, because you can play it alongside Alex Straza, freeze face.
Yeah.
Did you go back to that Meteor discussion for it? By the way, it's not very good in decks that have the double volcanic in your opening hand. It's still a good card, but you just don't need it as much.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's close that one out.
All right, well, we just go face now, right? Deckhand, Cultist, armor up, I guess, because there's no reason to play the upgrade here. Oh, is there?
Do extra damage.
Does it set you up lethal 1 turn sooner?
Yeah, you've got to be careful not to overkill them sometimes in these decks. Like, you lose your board, they're on 7, you can only hit them for 7. But yeah, absolutely perfect.
Okay, yeah. The upgrade was good, yeah.
So, Chinoise, obviously the play is to go Ice Block, Alex Straza in those order, but you need to get control of the board whilst you're doing all that. So what he'll be thinking about here is how to go into turn 9 with no pirates on the board and him having something. It doesn't really need to be a lot, and ideally be Medivh, but in the real world, he'll just be looking to have that Medivh's Valet on the board on its own.
So the way he does that is this turn, he plays the Valet, plays the Fireball and pings, right? Just gets rid of these pirates one at a time. You ping the 2-1, you Fireball the 3-4, and you Valet the face.
And about now, he might be thinking, why didn't I take that Frostbolt?
Yeah.
Because this would be an ideal opportunity just to Frostbolt face and buy a turn the way you were suggesting.
0 mana Frostbolts are pretty good at doing that kind of thing. He's actually going to go and play the Meteor now.
Right.
It means not putting the Valet on the board, but it also means not using up the Fireball. Kulkron Elite allows Murray to pop the block when he wasn't actually able to do that before. So Chinoise is on the clock now, and as we keep saying, the most important thing that he needs to do, the way he wins this game, is getting the board back.
Right, so the way he did that allows him this turn to just go Ice Block, Medivh's Valet, and whatever else he wants, really. He can Fireball face if he wants, or...
You could do with another cheap minion, really. Second Fireball.
Thing is, he may, Again, Frostbolt here would be nice.
Excuse me.
Imagine, it would buy an extra turn, wouldn't it?
And it would allow him to just go Medivh into the other Ice Block. Oh, no, he wouldn't have that other Ice Block, sorry, because that would be a Frostbolt.
Oh, of course.
But even so...
I guess he can play Medivh into Ice Block next turn, and then Alex Straza the turn after. That seems pretty strong.
This is really rough, though. So, 7 damage. This is why Ice Block is so ridiculous. It's basically Ice Barrier this turn, and you don't die.
Yeah.
It's gained you 7 health, and you're not dead anyway.
Yeah.
Just absurdly good at the moment. Always has been, but now the builds you can put around it.
Yeah, I think people have pretty well and truly established Ice Block as just being one of the best cards in Mage. Ever since the kind of Reno Mage days, Ice Block has been present in almost every Mage deck ever. There's a Frost
There's
Block.
Everything he could ever want.
Medivh the Guardian plus Ice Block looks like a relatively obvious turn here.
Yeah, just got to double check. That 3 armor's hurting, otherwise he can start setting up lethals. But yeah, Medivh and Ice Block sets up all sorts of win.
Get a 1-drop as well. Maybe it'll be a Shield Bearer. Who knows?
It's not, so the block's going to get procced again. But this is the situation we were talking about 3 turns ago. Get a board full of minions and get your Alex Straza down, and that's what's going to happen here. And Israel need to find a way to buy enough time to get through 16 health. They'll be hoping there's no Alex Straza, but they've seen that left-hand card has been there for the whole game.
Yeah, it's sort of just the waiting game for Murray now. He wants to just pop that last block and then deal that last little bit of damage, but he needs to pick up Leroy, Mortal Strike, some ways of dealing with this extra 14 health that Chinoise is going to be generating. What's he waiting for at the moment? He's considering attacking with the Atiesh by the looks of it. I think that's the only choice he still has to make.
They're still going to be planning a couple of turns, like what happens if they do this, what happens if they do that. You might as well plan it now
for
that Alex Straza. What's the worst thing that can happen to us? Not a lot for now.
I wonder why he decided to pop with his face rather than with the minion. Because now he's going to have to trade that minion into the 2-3. But he could have hit his face into the 2-3 and kept the minion healthy. I guess it doesn't really matter too much.
Right.
It's worth questioning.
Sure. Yeah, maybe valuing his health total a little bit.
Maybe he was hoping it wasn't a third ice block. Random secret from Glyph. Could have been anything, right?
All right, so...
Well, it's Alex Straza every time, all day, every day.
Yeah.
There's no way you risk just frostboarding face, because another Corcoran, another Sassy deckhand even, would just end the game.
And you've also got the world's easiest lethal next turn.
Hatul didn't look too happy about that, Alex Straza.
32 potential damage. No, he doesn't look happy at all about this, but he's seen it coming some while out. He's been a bit stressed for a few turns now.
So, assuming that Murray, assuming that Murray picks up 1 damage, then he wins in 3 turns, which is too long.
Yeah, he may be kind of really, really dead by then, given there's 32 damage about to slap him about here. And that is just going to be game 1 to Belgium. Chinoy is not looking as relieved as you'd expect from a man who's just taken a 1-0 lead. That's how much it means to these teams. Being 0-1, desperately need to just pick up that 1 win and buy as much as possible as well if they can.
I don't know what it is today, but there are so many close games of Hearthstone.
Right.
Several times in the last series, I'd written down the player I thought had won, and then I had to like scribble it out, put the tick on the other side.
Yeah, I had that problem with the China-Malaysia game earlier.
Right.
Where one of the games I crossed it out about 4 different times, because that's the sort of genius I am.
But incredible, great game from Chinoy's there. Again, we were both debating, like, does he take the Frostbolt, does he take the Ice Block? Ultimately, I don't think it mattered. I think either one, he would have still won that game comfortably. Like, the Alex Straza and then Frostbolt opponents faced for free play would have been as good as an extra Ice Block, right? I think it was either, it didn't really matter.
So we're going to go to the next one. It's going to be Maverick, who is the ace player. He's got Warrior, Druid, and Warlock. He hasn't got the Warlock yet. He's just got Warrior and Druid for now. Because with the Warlock, you have to pick 2 strong classes if you're going to be the ace player, if you're going to bury the Warlock. So he's going to choose between Warrior and Druid for now.
And both teams have chosen to bury the Warlock in the ace match in this series. Unlike in the last series, and I think the other ones we've had today, where Warlock on one side each time has been one of the decks before the ace match.
Right.
We even saw the zoo earlier on the Dirty Rat Zoo lock.
Yeah, the anti-rogue lock, basically, which didn't run into the rogue because they didn't manage to coax the other team into playing rogue with the pairings they had. Showing how important these pairings can be in this. They're up against Paladin or Hunter, and to me, that is usually a strategy of bury the Hunter. Paladin, it's because Paladin is so strong and so versatile, it's not just a strength, that you make your opponent guess anyway.
We have had some surprises, though, with Paladin.
Oh, your Hunter can definitely be played.
Where, surprise, I'm playing the Hunter. I don't think Hunter gets played against Warrior or Druid, though.
No, I'm not so sure it does, so...
So, yeah, I'm with you. I expect to see the Paladin on Hatul's side. Maverick, Warrior, Druid, well, you're expecting to play against Paladin.
Yeah, it just depends how they've built it. It's really hard to predict how Warrior Druid is going to be formed because you can form it so many different ways.
Aggro, Jade, Pirate.
Right, you've got to go one with the other, obviously, but which 2 they picked is kind of hard to predict.
Yeah.
And that's just going to be a guessing game for both sides, really. The Paladin likely to queue into one of the other 2. Yep. And really the slight advantage lies with the Warrior Druid player because they've got the choice.
Yeah.
They kind of know they're playing against a random Paladin and they can wait accordingly.
If one of their decks has got the extra anti-weapon tech, any of the extra tech specifically to beat Paladin, then they're going to pick that deck. And that will give them a little bit more of an edge. We see Maverick there and Hatul with his teammates. Same with, I think, Glacier and Yonaton there.
Hatul with hat on, pretty much every single week now.
All of the hats.
His trademark hat.
Yeah. Don't forget, it's not a 3-on-1 scenario as it may have just looked like their Hearthstone Global Games. The team-based format is every week. As you said, weekly reminder. But I think we remind you more than that because we see it in Twitch chat. We see people saying, that's not fair. It is fair. They're using their communications.
You don't think they're trolling us at all then?
Probably.
I think they might be trolling.
To be fair, that's my first expectation whenever I see Twitch chat. So.
Yeah, I know they're feeling well. Okay, this looks like a pretty aggressive Murlocs, but they can do that.
Versus a pretty aggressive warrior.
Yeah, versus a very, very aggressive-looking warrior. Let's see how this one plays out. Hatchell's got the 1-2, but he hasn't got the Rockpool Hunter, so it's not completely busted. Maverick, one of the French speakers of the team, to the point where everyone seems to think he's French all the time. He is one of these players, even though he won Festival Lille, that he's like the latest in the string of players that everyone says should be winning stuff and doesn't seem to win that much stuff.
It really surprised me earlier that Chino said that these guys speak different languages, because we had that little problem with Switzerland in stage 1 of the Hearthstone Global Games, where one of them spoke French, the other spoke English, someone could translate. I didn't realise that Belgium had the same issue.
Yeah, I hadn't realised either. I just assumed, because I'm ignorant Englishman, that they all spoke mainly French.
Right.
But having 2 Dutch speakers on the team, making it a little bit awkward.
Hator did end up with the Wombo combo, as Gaskin called it earlier. He did get the Tidecaller into Rockpool Hunter, but unfortunately, the War Axed out with the Tidecaller. So now, I guess it's just Hydrologist. You don't really want to play a... Oh, you could play the Rockpool Hunter because it doesn't die to the weapon. It's only a double upgrade.
Yeah, there's the option to just roll the hero power, which allows your Hydrologist to be protected by one of the secrets next turn, but that's really risky against a pirate deck that's going to rapidly develop.
Right.
But it's something you've got to discuss. And like you say, the Rockpool Hunter would possibly be risky, but if you win the risk, then it does stick on the board. Maybe that's your only chance, and that's what they're going to go for. They're going to say, okay, if you can kill it, you got us. The chance that they can kill it because Patches...
There it is. Patches is a Hearthstone card indeed. And Maverick, it's quite a disappointing start there, where you have to play upgrade. Like, even if you had an Azoth's First Mate into upgrade, that feels so much better, because you're not just wasting one of the most powerful cards in the deck on a tiny little weapon. But Maverick took advantage of it. He made the play he had to make, and he's landed himself in a great position this game.
Yeah, he has. Rallying Blade again showing why it's so much better than, or regarded as much better than True Silver Champion by a lot of players right now. You only need to kill things with 3 health, not 4, a lot of the time. Not always true. Not always true.
Stonehill Defender is one of the biggest exceptions to that rule, generally, I think, in the meta.
But then that's not killing you.
Yeah.
It's not usually, unless it's in Token Druid, where you do need to kill it.
It's really just blocking.
It's just sort of in the way for a while. And so...
There's an Azoth's First Mate that Maverick would have wanted to pick up on turn 1. Going to have to play it and actually debuff his weapon.
Yeah, this is a bit of a clue to Israel that if they can think that clearly, which is really hard, but they can maybe work out there's an Arclight Reaper here, or at least another weapon in hand.
Yeah.
If they're that willing to burn a weapon they've just built up, maybe Belgium do have another weapon hanging around, or maybe they have another Azoth's Mate, something like that.
Eureka, there's a Redemption, a Repentance, and an Eye for an Eye.
Yeah, some interesting choices there.
It's really Noble Sacrifice that you want in this matchup most of the time. Redemption's okay if it hits the taunt. It kind of does the same job as Noble Sacrifice.
Redemption's really good here because you're desperately trying to get something to stick on turn 5. So next turn they'll play as many things as they can. Hopefully for them they'll draw a small drop. And then they've got the Spike Ridge Steed going on turn 6.
I think that Israel going to need a True Silver Champion now, though, despite the fact we were saying Rallying Blade does the job most of the time.
This is good. They can play Hydrologist, roll the hero power, drop down the Redemption, and then their Spike Ridge Steed is going to stick.
Do you take Noble Sacrifice? I mean, yeah, you take Noble Sacrifice. It's just better than the other options here. But do you play it instead of the Redemption is the question I meant to ask.
They do very similar jobs. Let's think. I think you play the Noble Sacrifice. I think you want to make another 1/1.
You don't play both, yeah.
And at the moment, Noble Sacrifice is blocking the weapon off, and you take a 6 or a 7 from this frothing, but that's it.
It is looking here like that Spike Ridge Steed is successfully going to go down next turn, and then, because it's unlikely that Maverick's able to deal with it in one turn, the second Spike Ridge Steed goes down the turn after. That's going to be a huge swing for Israel, possibly a game-winning swing.
I don't like the Redemption here because they don't have to attack your minions.
Yeah.
I'd rather just make another minion, which is a guaranteed minion.
Oh, well, the Noble Sacrifice pops out when it attacks. So Noble Sacrifice pops out, then that gets rid of it.
Okay, sure. Okay, that's fine. That's good. I like it then. I'm just overlooking that interaction and that ordering. Yep, that's definitely better.
It's what I overlook a lot when I've got a Tyrion on the board and I want to redeem it. And I'll just put Noble Sacrifice down.
And this is actually perfect because Spike Ridge Steed on this will now set up the 4 attack needed to kill off the frothing as well.
Yeah.
You can't kill both of these two. Well, you can, but it doesn't look good. There's no way you're going to put 8 damage into a 2/1. It's just not happening.
Whoa! I don't know what just happened there. There were lots of bubbles.
Yeah, there were lots of bubbles.
Yeah, Spike Steed going to do its job here and potentially start swinging this game back into Hator's favour.
Yeah, 13 seems to be just about enough. Now, you can't do it on your face.
Would you want to do it on your face? I guess for the health.
290. It'd be kind of close, not on this occasion, but yeah.
Now, if the Stegodon lives, which it will, there's no way Maverick can deal with it, not quite. The second Spike Witch Steed's going to come down.
Well, you'll get the Curator as well, which gets you into Drake.
Yeah.
So Curator into Drake, into if you've got anything left, then I can Hero Power Steed on turn 9.
Okay, you're right, that's better.
Yeah. That's what I say. I think Israel are going to take this one, I think.
That is
twice.
Disgusting Pirate Warrior, unless Maverick can pick up a Spellbreaker. Spellbreaker may be a card that kind of gets his foot back in the door in terms of winning this game.
She's going to just stare blankly into space. I mean, Pirates is going to go down 0-2 most likely,
Wow.
and that's really unusual. Pirates have been pretty good in this tournament. Not over yet, but 13 is enough, I feel, to stabilise.
Second War Leader not going to do that much. Curator does seem like the obvious play this turn.
Yeah.
As we can see, Maverick doesn't currently have a way of dealing with both of these minions. The Arcanite Reaper plus the Heroic Strike.
And even if he picks up a way, he's still got to get, like, if he has Leroy and kills the 4-6 with the Leroy and the 2-5 with his face, forces 3 through, then the Drake just goes, hey, and that's the end of that.
Is that the sound it makes?
Yeah, hey.
I don't think that is the sound
Okay,
it makes.
that's maybe the sound something else makes. Like me, when I play Leroy and actually win a game.
Hey, okay. All right, Grimscale, Chum. Not really the relevant factor of this hand at the moment. It's all about them taunts right now.
It is. The 7-3 is irritating.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be a problem, but
But it is.
yeah, it's just going to irritate, isn't it?
I wonder if he Spike Witch Steeds the Valfin Inquisitor just to get as much health on that second taunt as possible. Or extra taunt.
It's definitely a possibility. The trouble with playing the Murlocs first is eventually you are going to play the Drake and just blow up your own Murlocs.
Yeah. Drake itself doesn't do enough here, though, I think. You can play it, but then the 7-3 almost just straight trades into it.
Yeah.
Charm Inquisitor, Spike Witch Steed, yeah, I think this is good. Because then you don't need to play the Drake, you can just put this taunt up and next turn play double War Leader.
Yeah, the War Leaders will help end the game quickly as well.
That 7-3, not quite going to deal with the 3-9 on its own. It's going to take
Heroic Strike will.
as well. Heroic Strike will. Southie Deckhand plus Bloodsail Raider will as well. There is a lot Maverick can do here.
Yeah, a lot he can do from where he sat, but he knows there's a Drake in hand because it picked up 3 cards from the Curator in case there was some mad world where you decided not to play one Drake at least in your Curator deck. Don't know where that world would be. It's not a world I want to live in. And we may see him play one more turn out here, but he must be right on the edge of conceding this. Because he can't manipulate his deck hand to do anything, this. Oh dear.
It's funny because this is now looking like quite an aggressive deck from Israel with the double Grimscale Chunk. But there's the Primordial Drake, there's the double Spike Witch Steed. It's just an aggressive deck that's going to kick the other aggressive deck's butt.
It really is. You go Chum, Hero Power, War Leader, War Leader. I don't see how you get back from that. They're probably trying to work out, hey, is he playing Brawl in his Pirates deck? And that's about it. That's how the discussion goes about now. I mean, they're not.
Gentle Megasaur into taunt is another way that Israel can just block Belgium from having...
And actually, yeah, they're just doing what you're saying. They're just going super safe here. Just no reason not to.
That weapon on its own, not going to deal with anything with the Heroic Strike, as you said last turn. Yeah, okay, you can deal with the Drake then, but then there's still a 3-7 Murloc riding a dinosaur.
You and Raven with your Murlocs riding dinosaurs terrify me.
It's Hatul with a Murloc riding a dinosaur.
Alright, it's Hatul's fault.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't blame anybody apart from myself these days. Some keep it telling. Do you really want to turn your 3-6 into a 3-3 after you trade? I don't know. I don't think you do. I think you just hit them in the face for a load.
Double War Leader is 2 off lethal.
Yeah, and then Megasaur gives you all sorts of chances to lethal it.
Yeah, +1/1 would do it. Plus attack would do it. Wind Fury would do it.
Yeah.
That's 3 out of
Pretty good. There's Wind Fury. GG. 1 game apiece. Pirate Warriors not getting the job done, and not looked like getting the job done in either game, to be honest.
No, you're right. Pirate Warrior, not very promising display in this series so far, as mages and paladins just doing what they can to put a stop to them. But Hatul and Team Israel looking very pleased with themselves. A pat on the back from Glacier.
Yeah. Now the next match is interesting. Next game is interesting as well, even. Shaman and Priest versus Shaman and Priest.
Oh.
Now, I think the Priest is favoured over Shaman, and there's a lot of ifs and buts in there.
Me and Gaskin were talking about the same thing. It depends on the Priest, but if it's a Priest that's like the one we saw earlier, a Priest with Shadow Word Horror, Dragonfire Potion, etc., etc., then they do tend to be favoured against the Shaman. If it's a Silence Priest, maybe not.
Yeah, sure, okay. Silence Priest can be okay as well, but yeah, it can go a bit wide and mess you up.
Yeah.
So you would expect it to be Priest versus Priest, because you get at least a 50-50 or you're slightly favoured. But Belgium's Priest just obviously didn't match up how they wanted it to, and they're going to go with Shaman versus Priest. So what's the Shaman? Is it going to be Token Shaman?
Now, I don't think it will be Token Shaman, because if he's picked Shaman, then it means he either thinks it has a good chance against Token Shaman, or he thinks it's got a good chance against Priest.
Right.
I think it's possible that they were hoping for the mirror and playing a more control-y based Shaman that's favoured against the Token Shaman with Volcanoes and cards like that. Maybe?
Or it might just be a Jade Shaman.
Yeah.
But maybe their Priest just wasn't good enough. Maybe the Priest was the Silence Priest, and maybe we're going to see Jonathan just playing this more defensive Light Warden Priest, which is pretty grim to play against if you're a Shaman.
I have given up guessing when it comes to Priest. We've seen Dragon Priest today, we've seen Silence Priest today, and we've seen Horror Priest. Apparently that's what it's called. Apparently it's a thing.
This sounds like a really bad horror movie.
I had people tweeting at me after the previous series like, yeah, there have been like websites publishing this deck over the last week. It's a thing. Oh! Double Mind Control, double Pint-Sized Potion, double Shadow Word, Horror Priest. All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, well, this looks like this could well be Light Warden Priest with the Inner Fire hanging around.
Yeah, it
Priest of the Feast.
Could be a Control Priest, but yeah, I'm with you. I think it's more likely to be Light Warden Priest.
And Arne was a player that appeared last week for a while. He's been replaced by Arne this week.
Sorry about that, Arne. I will get your name right from now on.
And it looks like it is just going to be Evolved Shaman or Token Shaman at least. Heard Gaskin explaining the trials and tribulations of when they don't put Evolve in these decks and they play Jade Spirit instead. I think there's better cards to drop if you're going to put Jade Spirit in your deck personally.
Better cards than Evolve to drop.
Patches, obviously the old whining here, blah, blah. Patches, it's not quite so bad when you've got Flame Tongue in your opener though.
Yeah, that is a little silver lining there, isn't it? Like you can play it on demand for a nice little 3 attack. Nice little Frostbolt for 1 mana. Why not?
But it's really annoying when you've kept the Bloodsail Corsair in a matchup against no weapons and then you draw your patches. It's like, oh, why? Why me?
Not being able to coin out mana type totem is frustrating as well. Belgium would have liked to, I think, start this card draw train rolling. Is Radiant Elemental tempting here? I don't know. You don't want to waste it.
All of the plays look really awkward here. Like the Talon Priest, you don't want to really coin it out because then next turn you haven't got much to do. You could Radiant Elemental into Shadow of Pain next turn, I guess, if you did that. If you Radiant Elemental now, there's no point coin Shadow of Paining then because, yuck. You could coin Shadow Visions then, but then you wouldn't be able to play the card you get. It's just all horrible.
Like, if you're doing that, you've got to coin out the Shadow of Pain, and that just doesn't feel good. The only good thing about it is that you then curve into the Cabal Talon Priest. And then if the Radiant Elemental lives, then you're in a pretty good position there.
I think you've got to be suspicious. You know they've got patches in their hand, and they chose to turn to Totem. By elimination, there's not many other cards in their hand. And did he keep the Flame Tongue in his opener? Or did he draw it? I think he drew it. I think he drew it. But yeah, Israel not going to walk into this. I think this is good play.
Well, I think against Evolved Shaman or Token Shaman, you take Dragonfire Potion most of the time. Potion of Madness may be tempting. The Dragonfire Potion is just so strong against this deck.
Hinting at a more controlling Priest as well.
Yeah, now that we've seen Dragonfire Potion, I think it is more like the Mr. Yagu control Priest, that type of deck at least. Priest is now one of these classes which is kind of got a lot of flex spots. You can really...
Yeah, you can make it bad any way you want.
You can put your own combination of Priest cards in. That's not the exact way I'd have put it, Neil, but okay, we'll take that. Okay. Now he's choking because he realizes how harsh a statement that was.
I'm so sorry, Priest fans. Zuka will never forgive me.
Now Radiant Elemental Shadow Word Pain is probably worth considering because it gets rid of the Manatide Totem.
Right.
Alternatively, you can just get rid of Manatide Totem with a Shadow Word Pain and not play the Radiant Elemental. But I think you'd prefer to start putting things on the board.
Yeah, unless you're saving it for some giant combo of a turn, which you might be with Lyra and all these cheap spells, and you're not in any trouble yet. But just scared of that Flame Tongue. They're making the read that this Flame Tongue is just going to kill our guy. And that's what they're going with. Next turn they can make a 3/6 and find out for sure. And then they can keep the Radiant Elemental for more important jobs.
Yeah, Priest of the Feast, no real reason to hold on to that against a Shaman for too long, I think. You're happy to just go ahead and develop it onto the board. Especially if, as you say, it does bait out the Flame Tongue Totem, then you can paint that away and that's that threat dealt with. That's really the way that Yonatan wins this. He needs to run the Shaman out of resources. He's got the board clears, he just needs to force the stuff out onto the board so that he can clear it.
The hard bit for the Priest here is they can control all this little stuff all day long. The hard bit is when it just goes Doppelgangster Evolve.
Sure.
What comes from that and how do you deal with it? Especially as we see now the thing from below coming to hand. If Belgium can get rid of the Dragonfire Potions and then go Doppelgangster Evolve thing from below, then they're in a great spot. If they can't get the Dragonfire Potions out, they can use the thing from below to try and bait those out if there's no Shadow Word Deaths coming up.
That being said, I think that Israel are going to struggle to keep control of this little stuff. If this Radiant Elemental gets destroyed by a Devolve or something, then the little stuff can just get out of control. Arne just needs a Primal Fin Totem or something just to keep this ball rolling, and then Yonatan will have to play a Dragonfire Potion. And then when they've played the Dragonfire Potion, Arne will feel more secure in putting more stuff onto the board.
Yeah, you've constantly got to be aware of the threat of Bloodlust, which means you can't afford your opponents to have more than about 4 minions, give or take, on the board. You can absorb a lot of damage. If you ate 12 in one turn, that's fine.
Yep.
But you don't really want to be eating 21 or something, because then you're into the range of just direct damage finishing you off.
Yeah, Jade Lightnings can finish the job, etc., etc.
So Arne here with the usual decisions of how do I weave in a totem here to make my thing from below cheaper. They can just go Flame Tongue, Hero Power, and then, start doing some stuff, play the thing from below and say, okay, Dragonfire Potion, this, and then I'm going to make another board, and how are you going to deal with that?
That Flame Tongue Totem is very scary. We've seen 2 Shadow Word Pains used up already. I think 1 came from Shadow Visions, so it's not that there could still be another one. But this might actually have to bait out the Dragonfire Potion. It's such a weak board to Dragonfire, though.
It just he wants to evolve patches here, or to get patches onto the board. Saying the word evolve is pretty awful there. Is there the thing from below? Presumably thinking that Shadow Word Death would be a thing for the thing.
So many things.
So many things to worry about.
Is it safe to just drop Elise here, or is there a threat of lethal?
7 plus 12 is 19. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, Patches being already on the board is good, though, because that's something to consider when Patches hasn't been played yet. Like, you have to count up Bloodlust and then count an extra 4 damage because there could be a Patches in the hand. But in this specific scenario, Patches on the board, that's not a threat. There's no other 1-mana charges in Belgium's deck, hopefully.
Hopefully for them.
The Stone to Spores. But what does Yonatan do here? As I said,
I mean, he's got options, right? So he's in an okay spot for now.
Priest of the Feast might even be worth considering here. Priest of the Feast coin Divine Spirit seems strong, actually.
Divine Spirit, okay.
Is someone injured?
Yeah, this seems okay as well. Are they going to make it to a 112?
It's risky because he's not healing anything.
He's not. He does have Priest of the Feast coin Divine Spirit next turn if he gets in trouble, though.
There's a Sea Giant. Now, we've seen quite a little bit of Sea Giant being experimented in this deck. Very good in the mirror.
Yeah.
Now, Israel had the option to bring Shaman. Belgium packing the Sea Giant.
Sure.
Makes sense now as to why they picked this deck.
Yeah, teched against the mirror match, slightly at least, and various other matches, but in particular the mirror, half decent as well against Druid. Although if you're playing it against Druid, you're probably winning anyway. Or lost anyway, one or the other.
I think we saw 8 Evolved Shaman in the top 16 DreamHack. One of them ran Sea Giant.
Wow.
But even the fact that one made it in shows that it is something that the players are experimenting with, or were, like 2 weeks ago almost. now things have maybe gone a little bit further.
Yeah, let's see how that works out. I think Sea Giant has been a card that's been around for some time now. But like you say, some players have been playing 2. 1's more usual. We've seen the Evolve in this, so it probably doesn't play 2. Probably just drops 1 Devolve for it.
Okay, yeah, makes sense.
That's sort of the flex spot is the second Evolve a lot of the time in this deck, because if you draw them both, it tends to be a bit clunky.
Sure. Flametongue Totem, though, just doing its job, making all of these trades so easy for Arne. And Israel are just in such a tough spot here. Dragonfire Potion clears everything except the 8/8 that's on the board. Can't even Dirty Rat Dragonfire Potion yet. That's a really strong play later on in the game, because if you can rat out a Doppelgangster, that's such a free kill.
Yeah, looking very good. Like you said, this Dirty Rat's just getting into so many decks again. It's another card that just comes and goes. As Quest Rogue is getting more and more powerful, more and more people are playing Dirty Rat.
Right.
And it's getting more powerful, not because it's getting much better, but because people are getting much better at playing it.
Always fear the Dirty Rat, boys and girls. Dirty Rat plus Divine Spirit might actually be a temptation here, just to put up a 2/12 taunt. Then you can heal face as well. 20, so 32 health protecting the face, that would be. Gonna go with the Dragonfire Potion.
Seems like a plan.
Obviously, Bloodlust is not lethal now, so it's something that Israel are going to consider. But now, Belgium might be tempted to just go wide.
Oh,
Doppelgangster going to help out with that a lot. Now, what's Sea Giant's original mana cost? I don't think that does evolve into anything, does it? I think it just stays put.
Yeah, do they actually stay put, or do they heal themselves?
They don't heal themselves.
That'd be nice.
They did with Recombobulator.
Yeah.
Molten Giant into Recombobulator.
Because it actually destroyed the minion, but this can't evolve into anything.
And, like, turned it into itself, yeah. But, yeah.
So the question is now, they've already seen 1 Dragonfire. What are they scared of if they Doppelgangster evolve? And do you want to evolve your things? I tend to feel that you actually, if you've got a hand this powerful, you drop a thing from below afterwards to guarantee a taunt in case of emergency.
You don't need a taunt, though, because you've got 29 health.
Yeah, I just think a 5/5's okay enough that you don't want to risk turning it into something awful.
Because it's a 6-mana 5/5, though, it evolves now into Hogger.
Sure.
Corrupted Hogger, which is just straightly better, right? In this scenario, anyway. And there you go. There's a high main on the board. Corrupted Hogger.
I mean, the EV of evolving it is definitely higher, but the variance is also stronger.
Sure.
So you can guarantee a 5/5 plus 3 randoms, that's not so bad.
Yeah. Whenever this minion takes damage, summon a 2/2 null with taunt, so that may have to eat up the Shadow of Death, but...
It's only a Talkstone point, right? This game is long since over.
Yeah. Sea Giant may also want to eat up the Shadow of Death. Savannah High may want to eat up the Shadow... Yeah. You get where I'm going with this.
I get you.
I'm not going to list every single card.
Just Glimmerroot into Evolve into something into Super Cards.
Super Cards?
Yeah.
Is that part of the next expansion?
Probably. It's probably not the name of it, though.
You heard it here first. Hearthstone. Super Cards.
Super Cards of the heroes.
Starring Neil the Murloc.
Wow.
I think it's Flametongue Totem. Yeah, I think it's Flametongue Totem. Not that it does anything whatsoever. This game is... Well, it's been well and truly over for quite some time.
Yep, and it finally goes to 2-1 to Belgium at this point. Despite the fact I've written 2-1 to Israel on my score sheet, I have no idea why I wrote that, given that it was never going Israel's way from about turn 3 onwards. And Belgium looking to get that first win. 1 more win, they'll be doing it.
1 more win and they're out of the woods, sort of. They're going to end up with a 1-1 match score if they win this game. But Israel, they're not going to want to let that happen because they're going to be well and truly lost in the woods if they do lose this series.
Just want to clarify, we've been talking all day about these teams being 0-1 and such like. Remember, there was a 10-week first phase of 5 weeks of round robin.
I missed that.
I thought you did, actually. I don't know where you were looking half the time. That these teams have come through. These are the best 24 out of the original 48. All of these teams have worked hard just to get to this spot. And we're going to see Paladin taking on a Druid here. And this is the interesting pick for Glazer because now he is going to use up one of his picks, obviously. Means that if he does go to that 5th game, he's going to be probably stuck with Mage. And for that reason, I expected him to pick the Mage first.
Yeah, he'll be stuck with the Mage against Maverick, who will be stuck with Druid.
Right.
Which depends on the type of Druid, doesn't it? That game in the future. It's all down to Glazer now, though, for Israel, as you were saying. He's the 4th player, and he's also the ace player. So the entire weight of the team on his shoulders right now. With the team behind him as well.
Sure, yeah. It's not a very heavy-looking team. He'll be fine. The whole thing with having your ace player playing later than your opponent's ace player is you've seen which class they selected for game 2.
That's really clever.
So Maverick, so Israel here have got their mage and their druid, and they knew what they're picking against, so they can plan the next 2 games. They know what they've got in game 5 coming up, so they don't only just pick for this game; they're kind of picking for next game as well. You
know, that is a facet of the mind games in this tournament that I hadn't actually considered at all. Very good spot there.
So it's only small, but these small things add up when you're building a lineup that is so complicated as these decks.
It's interesting because it kind of sounds like it's actually quite big because you can outthink, you can outpredict and outmaneuver your opponent going into the last game.
Right.
The reason it's not as huge as maybe my initial reaction would indicate that it is because he actually still has to win this game.
Sure.
So you can't completely play to the out later.
But you get to pick your 2 the best way. However, the downside is that goal difference, game difference, whatever you want to call it, is an advantage.
Yeah.
Winning 3-0 is very much better than winning 3-1.
Right.
Especially when it comes down to these third-place teams that are going to have all manner of tiebreakers to decide which 4 count as lucky losers. So leaving this till the 4th, leaving your best decks until the 4th game, means you're not going to win 3-0 as often. So that's another thing to consider. And in the first phase, we saw a lot of teams left it till 4th. A lot of teams put their ace match at the top and various things. Yeah, people were really all over the place on exactly what to do. Oh, my goodness.
All right, let's go. It's going to be...
Doesn't really matter where you place it when you go first with the Innovate Flappy Bird.
And no coin. Yeah, works out perfectly for Glacier. It's going to come down immediately. And that start would indicate that we will get to the ace match, especially looking at Belgium's hand. Oliek struggling with his 8 drops and his 6 drops. See what he picks up now. It's Outdoor Peacekeeper. That's not playable yet. This is not looking good for him at all.
But already he knows every card in his opponent's deck.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good idea.
He's only going to see one of them for the whole game, but he knows them all.
So how does this actually play out? So Oliek...
Bish, bash, bosh.
Oliek passes this turn. And the next turn, Glacier attacks, tries to get Wind Fury, attacks again. Which one does he go for then?
Well, if you get Wind Fury, you go Wind Fury. What do you mean if you don't get Wind Fury?
Yeah, but either way after that. Like
Divine Shield,
Divine
Stealth.
Shield, the one. Stealth is fine. I guess can't be targeted isn't great against Paladins. Paladin don't really have spells that target minions on the other side of the board.
Sure.
So I think you're right. I think it's Stealth or Divine Shield. Maybe Health is fine too.
I mean, that's the trouble. They're all good, right? Even Plants is okay. That's probably the worst one.
Yeah,
Taunt's probably the worst one.
Plants, Taunt, and 1/1 are probably the ones looking well. A second Innovate. Glacier is, oh my goodness. So you could go Bloodstone Corsair, Innovate Savager if you wanted to. Potentially get 2 hits with the Fledgling. I say potentially, because it's not guaranteed.
I guess the decision here is, do you use your Corsair? You're scared of Rallying Blade?
Yeah.
Rallying Blade would be a bit of a blowout. I think you have to attack first and see where you're at.
Yeah.
And then if you're at a place where Rallying Blade isn't going to kill your Flappy Bird, you just play the Corsair and get on with your life.
Yeah, you definitely can't play Savager after attacking the first time, though. Not getting the Wind Fury, these are 3 of the worst options, I think.
I think you're right. +1/+1 takes out the way of the Rallying Blade, though.
Yeah, yeah.
So he'll take that. And now, because he's safe from Rallying Blade, he doesn't need to destroy it. So now he can go ahead with this play.
And again, you're pointing out there the importance of Rallying Blade in the meta right now. It's another card that does deal with Vicious Fledgling before it's attacked.
So next turn, we're going to see the Peacekeeper come down, most likely to try and deal with this.
Unless a Pyromancer.
And then we're going to see Savage Raw on a second attempt to buff this annoying animal.
I think if Pyromancer got picked up there, he would have not wasted the coin this turn. He'd have waited and played Pyromancer Equality the following turn, or even Equality this turn and then Pyromancer the following with the coin.
There's still so many things that can just go horribly wrong for Belgium here. I think you have to Peacekeeper. I guess.
I think there's very little that can go right for Belgium here, looking at how this game's gone.
Yeah, I mean, one thing they've got to consider, but I don't think it's worth it. I think you do just use the Peacekeeper. Is the likelihood of drawing Consecration just equalitying now.
Right.
Just eating it up, draw Consecration, clear the board, win the game.
Sure.
But in the real world, I think you just have to Peacekeeper and hope it all goes away somewhere. The bird's going to hit them in the face at least once more, and we can see it's going to be more than that because Savage Raw is going to eat up the Peacekeeper. Oh my goodness.
Does Belgium ever just hero power? I don't think he can.
No, I think if you do anything silly or different, I think you're equality.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. Well, makes the play that was, I guess, obvious right from the start. Power of the Wild can be played with Innovate and Savage Raw this turn. If Glacier even wants to do that, would allow Patches to just straight trade into the Outer Peacekeeper and everything else to go face.
I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Maybe you don't even need to play Power of the Wild here. I don't know why you don't, though. What are you playing around by not playing Power of the Wild?
What to do?
There's no equality.
Turn 3 coming up.
It's not possible for an equality combo to come out yet. I think you're just rallying Blade.
Feels like turn 1,000,000, but...
Power of the Wild, I mean.
So this is going to cost them 1 damage if they decide to iterate power, but they're going to see where they stand first.
No Wind Fury again.
Oh my goodness. How unfortunate for the guys who've drawn 2 innovates.
Yeah.
I feel so sorry for them.
Okay, fair point. I take my sympathy back a little bit. But seeing that Outer Peacekeeper's been used up, Glacier goes ahead, gets the attack buff. He's safe if there's a Rallying Blade. There's no coin in hand, so there's no chance of True Silver Champion.
This isn't fair. I've got a 4/4 again.
Right, yeah.
Just not fair.
Yeah.
We just got rid of that thing. Why won't it stop hitting us? All right.
Take number 3. Let's go. Wind Fury.
And he's going all in on the Firefly Elemental Power of the Wild here, I think. And why wouldn't you?
Yeah. Again, Pyromancer plus equality is the only punish here. And now it is a legitimate concern.
Yeah, sure. But they would have played the Pyromancer to challenge the bird, I think, is their thinking.
Right.
Because they couldn't afford to let it get to this position. Flying Super Bird. And that is just that, right?
Yeah. Unless there's even the top deck Pyromancer now and the 1/1 Death Rattle minions would still survive, and then Hero Power would clear up would just win the game. So there's actually nothing that Belgium could have that would allow him to survive into the next turn. We're going to go into the ace match.
Yeah, and it's going to be Belgium on Druid or Warlock versus Israel on Mage or Warlock. See any reason why Warlock can beat either Druid or Mage?
Mage, no.
Druid, if you think it's what, then what? I guess you can possibly beat Jade these days if you built it the right way.
With Zoo? Or with Blood Blue?
Yeah, with Zoo.
Glacier looking very happy about that, but not quite through yet. This is such an important ace match coming up now. One of these teams is going to be 0-2 in Stage 2 of the Hearthstone Global Games after this next game. The other one's going to be 1-1 with a significantly better chance at getting through to top 16.
So this Druid was paired with Warrior originally, and it was a Pirate Warrior. So it's probably not an aggro Druid. It's probably a Jade Druid. And the Mage was also paired with Druid, and it was the aggro Druid. So it doesn't tell us much because Mage is just Mage. So it looks, and I've been pretty good today. I've got some wrong. I'm pretty good. Like it's going to be Jade Druid versus Mage.
Well, that's not good for the Mage, usually.
Not usually, although it's not completely one-sided like some people think.
Unless it's Freeze Mage.
Unless it's Freeze Mage.
It's one-sided. But if it's the Discover Mage, the Burn Mage, the one that drops Medivh down on 8 and then creates this huge board, Druids typically aren't very good at clearing big boards. And that's the way that the Mage can win this.
Right. And yeah, it can just go Mana Worm into 2-drop into Secret. And if the Secret's counterspell or Mirror Entity, we haven't seen any Secret Mage for a long time, but Mirror Entity just is a way. Tempo Mage / Secret Mage can destroy Druid with that Mirror Entity, because Druid only has Jade Spirits that's small. Everything else is just big, and you don't really want that to happen.
Yeah, Mage has been less versatile recently. I think you guys casted a Freeze Mage earlier.
We did.
Otherwise, it's all been Burn Mage today.
Yeah. And even the Freeze Mage, I seem to remember, had Volcanic in it.
Right.
Everything's sort of congealing into one messy Mage mess.
One messy Mage mess.
Yeah, that's how I see Mage. Do you like Mage?
I enjoy playing it.
Do you like losing to it?
No.
No, no one likes losing to Mage.
It's the Mana Worm on turn 1 thing, isn't it? Like,
I don't mind that as much. I know you, and I know Sottle also is a massive not fan of Mana Worm on turn 1. That's not the thing that does it. It's Ice Block. Ice Block, I hurt my soul. It's an important strategy. It's a really important part of Hearthstone.
It's this card that's always allowed mages, Freeze Mages specifically, to set up the 2-turn or 3-turn souled lethal against any class that doesn't have any healing. Rogue being a big victim of the solved lethal, I think, over the last couple of years, where just you can win 3 games before you've actually won, because like, that plus that's lethal. Rogues can't heal themselves. I win the game.
And in fairness, there is Eater of Secrets if you really don't like Ice Block. Like I don't, you can play Eater of Secrets.
You play 2.
I don't like Eater of Secrets either.
Do you play 2 Eater of Secrets in every deck? I was about to ask.
I should.
Yeah.
I should.
That would solve all of your problems, Neil?
Nothing's going to solve all of my problems at this point, Dan, but thank you for offering.
All right, let's go. We're going to jump into the next game, and I can see an Eater of Secrets in that Mage hand. Not going to be useful at all. You called it right on the Jade Druid.
And it is the Jade Druid Pyromancer Acolyte. Will there be a Moonfire? That's my question here.
Right.
That was what Stan Sivka was playing recently, and we've seen one or two others. The Moonfire, basically the anti-aggro version of this, whereas the Pyromancer Acolyte is more for, it is a bit of anti-aggro, but it's more for drawing some more cards.
Moonfire works well with that combo, though.
It does. It does get slotted in there, but then you end up dropping things like Jade Spirits start to bite the dust then, which is quite a big price to pay when the game gets going to turn 10, turn 12.
Right.
Because you've cost yourself 1 or 2 extra Jade points by then. And so the Moonfire not always drop, not often drop, in fact, it's usually not played. You usually keep the Jade Spirits.
Okay. Despite the joking about it a moment ago, the Mana Worm is there, ready to go on turn 1 for Glacier, no coins, so it's without a doubt going to come down immediately. Wild Growth and Acolyte of Pain being kept for Maverick. All right.
Yeah, interesting, they sort of kept half of that combo, splitting the difference. And I wonder if that means he's going to coin out the Wild Growth, so he can play Acolyte on 3.
Yep, seems right to me. Or, you know, you can coin out the Wild Growth and set up for a Wrath on turn 2.
Yeah, a lot of people sort of used to say you should never coin Wild Growth, except for Jade Blossom, which is universally obvious.
Yeah, or back in the day, Shade of Naxxramas.
Sure, yeah, or Shade of Naxxramas. But now, if you coin Wild Growth into Wrath, even though you don't get any mana out of it, forgetting the fact he's just drawn Jade Idol, if you don't coin out the Wild Growth, and then on turn 2 you Wrath, your Wild Growth's still stuck in your hand. Even though you've got a coin to make up for it, it gets kind of messy, so quite often you just play it now. But yeah, not letting this get out of hand, just defending his health total. He can Wild Growth on 2 comfortably enough.
Excuse me, you are
Media's Valet sadly having to be dropped with no secret on the board from Israel there, but it's just for tempo. He now definitely knows what he's up against. Well, he would have known previously with the Coin Wrath, and he just knows he's got to start getting that damage in and win the game as quickly as possible.
Right, this is going to do more damage by hitting for 2 twice than it is by holding it back and hitting for 3 once.
The fact that Glacier has Medivh in hand is very, very good for him as well. If he can play that, hopefully, onto an empty board later, maybe that Doomsayer with a Frost Nova can set that up. Doomsayer, by the way, in a Discover Mage, is something we've seen a little bit of recently, but it's not that common.
Yeah, it's a way of controlling that early game without going completely crazy on Volcanic Potions, or you can add it as well as the Volcanic Potions. It's just extra anti-aggro. Mage decks just suffer in those mid-turns, and sometimes you can play this with a Frost Nova on turns 5 and 6, those turns where you're doing nothing as well. Yeah,
a lot of people will just play Volcanic Potion instead, but Doomsayer is still a very strong way of clearing many boards. Gonna just use it now, try and get that Acolyte as few draws as possible, setting up for the potential of an Acolyte ping for himself next turn.
Yeah, it looks just like the Acolyte's gonna have to draw 1 card. No, I don't think there's any way to defend it if they want to, but no point doing so.
No. Wild Growth, pretty nice pickup though. It gives Maverick something to do this turn if he wants to. There's a chance he may want to save it and use it with Gadgets and Auctioneer way later down the line.
There is.
Card draw going.
It's decision time, but I feel that you should get the extra mana. The number of times you get to, I don't know, turn 8 and you want to Primordial Drake and ping off a 3 health minion. Yeah, he's going to actually take the card draw this way. Okay. Which is a weird way of doing it, but it's effectively just cycling the Pyromancer.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're probably going to do, the rest is going to happen anyway, you've got to play the Wild Growth anyway. So now, do you want a random card, or do you want to say 3-2 that doesn't do anything when half your combo's gone? So yeah, cycling it off, nice work.
Archaeologist picked up, can be played with the Acolyte of Pain, with the secret that she picks up, or with the Ice Block. Or Glacier could just Acolyte and ping it.
Acolyte ping does seem tasty, but you really want to thin this deck out, as I've said a million times already today.
There's the chance of drawing the secret as well, so that then your Archaeologist doesn't draw you anything. That's always an unfortunate possibility. Counterspell is very strong if it can hit and nourish, but with Innovate and 2 swipes in Maverick's hand, that doesn't seem likely to happen.
Right, so Belgium here in a bit of a tough spot, because I think the Jade's only going to be 2-2.
Right.
If I'm correct, this makes a difference. Though I think it's going to be 2-2, and what they're scared of is the Archaeologist, just getting rid of the 3-6 and the Acolyte getting the extra shot. So like here, Frostbolt, trade, ping, run the Acolyte into the 2-2, or variations on that theme. I'm sure that's not the most efficient way now I think about it. Extra cards for the Mage, and the Mage is not only holding its own on the board, but it's out-carding the Druid as well. And the combination of the two is dangerous.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time before Glacier gets to turn 8, plays Medivh, then plays the Violence Portal, the Flame Strike, whatever else he needs to play, and gets a huge board. It's going to be... From how the game looks right now, it looks like it's actually going to be pretty tough for Maverick to just keep up with all of that.
Yeah, the reason the Druid usually manages to hold on to all that, even if it looks a bit sort of sketchy, is that your Jades get to 4 and they do a bit of awkward bad trading, then they get to 6 or 7 and suddenly they just take over. But they're at 2. Like, there's double swipe Primordial Drake, that's a chunk of damage that can still be done by Belgium. But the Jades aren't going to come to the rescue. The cavalry is miles away, down the hill, far away, and like being called for, and they're not there.
Right.
Or something like that. Probably the worst analogy ever.
Yeah, I don't think they come on horses, really, Jade Golems. They don't come on dinosaurs, that's for certain.
Yeah, we had the dinosaur thing. Seems to be just Murlocs that do that. All right, it's go time.
Gadget-san, Auctioneer, Innovate, Swipe. Is that the play now?
Looks like a play that looks pretty good.
You swipe the Acolyte to make it only get 1 draw. Or do you have to swipe the Archaeologist to get rid of the bigger minion? No, I think you have to deny the draw. That works too, though.
Yeah, this is fine as well. Waiting a bit longer for the Gadget-san so you've got more mana to use with it.
Both Wild Growths have been used by Belgium, so there's no way that they're going to wait and then play the Auctioneer with a Wild Growth to draw 3 cards or 4 cards or whatever, however many cards that draws. It is 3. Ice Block is the obvious pick, though none of this is what you want in this specific matchup. In this matchup, you need to get something that actually deals damage or develops a board.
Potion of Polymorph really good against Auctioneer, really good against Aya.
Right.
2 of the threats that are incoming.
That's true.
Not bad against another Primordial Drake as well. So good pick up there, given the situation. Just hope there's no Jade Spirit is where they're at.
Ooh, Jade Behemoth isn't the best target.
It's not, yeah, it's a good way of dodging the Polymorph, right? Oh my goodness, watch his face here. This is a bit of an accident.
Oh, no.
And it is the one that everyone forgets. First of all, it's the least picked.
And
secondly, it's the newest.
It is.
Even though it's 2 months old, it's still the one that everyone just doesn't instinctively play around.
It's a mix, right? A mix of cards, a mix of the card that you barely see and one that's not been out for long.
Right.
And you do forget it exists, and that is really not going to work out well for Maverick. He needs to pick up a second Auctioneer or a Nourish or something right now. Jade Idol would have been the best first draw that he would have gotten from the Gadget-san Auctioneer, but now it's not happening because of how strong that Potion of Polymorph was.
And Glazer likes his spot here, not just because he's got control, but look at the cost of spells. They're useful and they're big. Like, sometimes you don't want to be casting a Finance Portal just because.
Yeah, just to summon
you're casting it and getting a 7-drop and getting a 5-drop and having a ping left over. It's all going pretty insane around here.
Glazer, just such a good spot there on the Potion of Polymorph.
Yeah, really nice. Like you're saying, there weren't any good-looking options, but actually that Potion of Polymorph was probably the best pick anyway, because there were a lot of situations where Maverick had to walk into it, and also just got a bit of a little trick where Maverick just walked into it when he didn't need to.
So, as you said, Violence Portal plus Ping looks pretty solid to get rid of that Jade Behemoth. It's frustrating because then you can't get rid of the Primordial Drake. I guess you could Flame Strike. Okay, Flame Strike Medivh's Valet trade, that does it. That's the better way of doing it, I think.
Yeah?
And then you can Violence Portal next turn.
Excuse me, I just
huge board.
choked to death. So many good options here for Israel. They've just got to make sure they do this the most efficient way, and they should be golden. Jade still only at 3 is a big, big deal. They just never got rolling.
I'm pretty sure it is just Flame Strike when he's Valet.
Yeah, I mean, he just looks so clean.
Valet away the 3-2, trade into the 4-4. Antonidas! The mage picks up Antonidas. Maverick really not looking so happy about this.
That's an understatement.
Maverick did get top 12 in Seat Story last weekend. He's been doing a lot of stuff recently, as always, these players.
Yeah, Maverick is, well, Maverick and Glazer actually are 2 players that are bubbling under as players that will get their chance, I think.
That's got to be the concede right there. Like, not even... Oh, unless he was testing for the counterspell with Swipe, but I don't think so. That doesn't seem...
This is just lethal, right? Fireball, ping is 13. 14 on board is 27, plus the face. You've got to hit them with the face first, so you don't get too many things off the... So you don't get rid of the Atiesh. So 14 damage on board.
Yeah.
1 from the Atiesh is 15.
Yep,
2 fireballs is 12.
Kind of myself, it's 28 exactly, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you're right, the Atiesh has to go face before the spells are cast. It looks like Glacier spotted it. As long as he gets that sequencing right. Oh, there it is. All right, there it is.
Well played.
All right, well played, says Glacier, and Israel going to take the series on the ace match, going 1-1 in the group.
Yeah, and Belgium going to have to wait. A lot of the team like Norway, who I think we all thought were going to go pretty well, both down at 0-2, and yet again, Israel just proving the casters wrong. I feel that all the way through this event that we have underrated Israel, and I'm sure that when we bump into those guys, they're going to make us suffer.
Or when we bump into them in the finals, by the way it's going at the moment.
Yeah, could well do.
They've still got a little bit more work to do in order to get there. Like, they're still only 1-1 in the group. They need to win one more series, hopefully.
And it is only a 3-2 win as well.
Yeah, so it could be close. Then again, they only lost 3-2 in the first series, so it's not like they were too behind before. But there you go. There's a reminder of how this series went. One win on either side all the way through until Glacier stepped up and won 2 games in a row.
And he was able to get that aggro druid into the paladin, and he was able to get that mage into the jade druid. Didn't look too good for him, to be honest, the way that worked out.
That should not have been a good match.
But it just worked out well for him. And yeah, managed to win both of those. And maybe he knew something we didn't, but worked out really nicely there. I think the jade druid just got that slow-ish start. It wasn't that slow, but it was the pyro acolyte start, which is really good against the aggro decks, but does slow you down just that touch against the slower decks.
It was a mix between that, Glacier starting with the Mana Worm, and also Glacier having Medivh ready to go on turn 8. I said before we started with that game, that is how they win. They win with Medivh, and it did happen. Let's take a look at some of the highlights from that series. Pirate Warrior not quite coming through because of Chinoy's and his many ice blocks. Then Alex Straza finishing the job defensively. Yeah, it's just impossible for the Pirate Warrior to win from that position.
Yeah, and then going into another Pirate Warrior game. Didn't go so well either, just coming up in a moment. At this point, Chinoy's, you can see like he was still very nervous at this point in terms of, look, we're 1-0 up, it's not important yet. That turned out to be a good attitude to have because, you know, don't count your chickens before they're something Flappy Bird.
I think I want to hear the full phrase there.
I'll work that one out later then.
Okay. But there you go, Murloc's doing Murloc things. There you go, Murloc on a dinosaur. Stagadon is a dinosaur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's riding the Stagadon right now.
I know. Okay. But like, they should change the art.
Oh,
there should be a different art for each minion that rides on a dinosaur.
And here's today's weekly Lorinda's Blizzard.
Reason number 312 why I'm not a card designer. Because I spend all of the money on stupid art.
That would be very cool, though. Let's be honest for a second. That would be very cool.
What if each of the minions had an on a dinosaur artwork? Like, you commission hundreds of artists to have an on a dinosaur artwork. Right. Yep, I want it. Let's do that.
Flappy Bird doing Flappy Bird things, picks up the Wind Fury this time, I believe. Yep, there it is. And Oliek just in a position where no draw in his deck would have won in this game. Even Pyromancer Equality with 2 1/1s on the board, and then them plus the hero power would have finished the job.
And just look there, Oliek had 3 mana at this point. Yeah. This does not seem very fair. Here's my Acolyte Pain. Okay, here's 27 damage.
Stats for a 3-mana board, isn't it?
Doesn't seem fair when Druid does its thing. It's pretty hard to beat.
And then this game that, to all rights, should have gone to the Druid, but Glacier just got what he needed in the right order. Potion of Polymorph being absolutely key, stopping Maverick's card draw chain before he got the chance to start it.
Yeah, and that was the big turning point, that Potion of Polymorph, catching the Auctioneer. If it had caught something else, that Auctioneer was going to do a lot of work with Innovates with Jade Idols. And things could have been different, especially if they pick up some armor as well.
Yeah, but that is going to be that, unfortunately, for Belgium, but very fortunately for Israel, as we said. We are going to actually have a chat with Murray right now. So, hey, Murray, can you hear me?
Yeah. Hey, Falcone, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good. How are you doing after that win?
Oh, we're ecstatic. We're super happy. The guys they're in Ramat Gan. It's a little city. They're very happy. I'm here in Jerusalem. I'm happy as well.
Very, very close. You fought Belgium tooth and nail there, but how are you feeling now about your chances of getting through to top 16?
Oh, we're very happy. I mean, we have 1 win, which is technically the worst win when you go by game wins. We have 1 loss, which is the best. Hopefully we get a next score next week against the USA. They got like 1 or 2 pretty known people. Hopefully we do well against them.
Have they? I don't know.
I think you guys are becoming pretty known yourselves over the course of this event. You're surprising me every single week, and I'm going to have to start apologising to you every single week as well. You're doing a really good job out here, man.
Thank you. I have to share with you guys that Glasse, our captain, he said when we figured we're facing Jay Druid in the final game, he said, what's the problem? We just draw Medivh, keep it in. They don't have ooze, and we win. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
I mean, that's what we said before. We said that's the only way you win. We were talking about the kind of setup there, and when Glacier chose Druid over Mage in the 4th game, were you guys considering which deck you'd have to play in the 5th game when you made that decision?
We were debating about it a lot. We were split about how we want to divide the games, the player D and the ace game. Some of us were talking that we think their Druid is Jade, but we if they bring their combination was Warrior and Druid.
Right.
Now, once they have Quest Warrior and Aggro Druid,
right,
we always want to play the Mage and the Ace.
Yep.
But if it's any other combination, we want to switch the order, probably, depending on the Mage Paladin matchup.
And to clarify, you don't play game 1, right, before you get to pick. You see what they picked for game 1, but you don't know what version they played until you play the games out, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know that probably.
I know that, but the viewers don't all necessarily know that.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, Murray. Congratulations. You guys go and enjoy your win. It sounds like you have been so far. And we'll see you again next week.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see a lot more of you guys.
Yeah, keep it up, man.
You too.
Yeah,
cool.
Just making the point there again, just for those who didn't know at home, basically they pick the class they're going to play for game 1 and for game 2, etc. all the way down, but they don't get to see the decks. They don't pick after each game. They pick in out
of course they don't. Right. So actually they would have chosen their ace match before they even got.
He knows it's Warrior and Druid, but he doesn't know if it's going to be Pirate Warrior and Jade Druid, or if it's going to be Aggro Warrior and. Sorry, if it's going to be Taunt Warrior and Face Druid, and he worked out all the combinations, saying the only one that's bad for us is if it is Pirate Warrior first, which is the one that it turned out to be, but they won anyway.
But yeah. All right, let's take one last look at Group B. There we go. I was worried for a second there that I'd said something wrong. But there you go. Israel there in 3rd with their 1-1 score. USA versus Czech Republic going to be coming up very soon.
Yeah, all eyes will be on for Group B players will be on that one, because both those two teams are so strong, and Israel and Belgium have to find a way through their respective opponents out of those two if they're going to progress, and not exactly easy.
All right, well, we are going to go to a break. Last game coming up in just a moment. Lorinda and Gaskin going to bring you that one. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We're almost there. Quiet down, everyone. This is not like any of our previous expeditions. This will be far more ambitious. We're stepping into a land of primordial wonder. Infused with astonishing elemental energies. The plant life here holds very unusual properties. So don't touch anything. And while you may be excited to see the local fauna, you might want to make sure they don't see you. Because their powers of adaptation are devastating. Make no mistake, we will be tested at every turn. But if we stay on our guard, we might just survive. Now then, are you ready? Then let's journey into Ongoro Crater.